It's been a very bad rookie season. I'm not going to lie to you. We're sitting here with Drake London, and London has literally scored fewer points per game than Nico Collins, DJ Chark, Mac Hollins, Josh Reynolds. It has been disgusting, but I'm not giving up. I think that Drake London is such a good talent that this may actually be a buy low moment. Of course, we're going to get into why. I'm going to try to remind you how good Drake London actually is. But before we get into the video, make sure you go down there, drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel only if you play Dynasty Fantasy Football. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. And in that comment section, you can find a link to Underdog Fantasy. We're on Underdog Fantasy. You can hop into a draft with us at any time. You know we do them year round. And on top of it, you can check out all these cool player props. They have them every week. When you sign up to Underdog with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And it's available in damn near every state. Link in the comment section, link in the description. But that should be about it. Let's go through. Let's dive into Drake London here. And instead of focusing on his rookie season, let's take a step back, okay? Let's take a step back. Let's remember who he was coming into the NFL. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I had Drake London ranked as the #1 wide receiver in this class. I had Drake London ranked ahead of Garrett Wilson. I had him ranked ahead of Chris Olave. Players that people would easily rather have over Drake London now at this point after their rookie seasons. But if we go through the important boxes for these wide receivers coming into the NFL, what are we looking for? We are looking at, obviously, NFL draft capital, going to matter regardless of position. We are looking at their dominance, their final season in college from a market share perspective. That way we can take into account the overall context of their offense. We're looking into when they broke out, whether they broke out as freshmen, sophomore, juniors, massive red flag if they break out their junior season, and when they declare. So are they coming into the NFL at 21 years old or 22 years old? And then if they had any NFL quality teammates on their roster. And Drake London pretty much checks every single one of these boxes. Drake London went to USC in his freshman season was unbelievable. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but let's put this into context. Yeah, he only had 567 receiving yards, but look at the per game numbers and look at them in comparison to wide receivers everybody loves. Look at the fact that Drake London was on this USC roster as a true freshman, started off the season pretty much 17 years old. You had Michael Pittman Jr. as a senior at USC, 22 years old. You had Amon-Ra St. Brown as a sophomore. And Drake London gets out there, 71 receiving yards a game, only 9 fewer than Amon-Ra St. Brown, only, I believe, 28 fewer than Michael Pittman with a 4-year age gap. Like, Drake London broke out with top-level competition in his offense. Then he goes to his sophomore year. Obviously, 2020, Michael Pittman Jr. goes to the NFL, but you still have Amon-Ra St. Brown on this roster. Obviously, USC has talent. And Amon-Ra St. Brown as well as Drake London both play in 6 games in 2020. You know who has more receiving yards? Drake London. Drake London, 502 receiving yards compared to Amon-Ra St. Brown at 478. And Amon-Ra St. Brown was a year older than Drake London at this time. And London's playing over him. Now, obviously, I don't have to tell you what Amon-Ra St. Brown's done in the NFL. Amon-Ra St. Brown is pretty damn good. I think you know that. And if we are going to his junior season, this is honestly maybe the most exciting thing for Drake London. He has almost 1,100 receiving yards, right? Which, yeah, that's great. In 8 games played. In 8 games played, the man has almost 1,100 receiving yards. The next leading wide receiver for USC was at 602 in 12 games. This accounted for 45% of his receiving yards on a per game basis his final season at USC. He dominates. The second Amon-Ra St. Brown goes to the NFL, which would have been the assumption because Amon-Ra St. Brown's pretty damn good. Michael Pittman Jr., pretty damn good. And if we're looking at how he checks out in our college prospect model, specifically at the wide receiver position, when he was playing alongside other NFL caliber wide receivers who've been very good in the NFL, when he broke out as a true freshman, when he dominated his junior season, and the fact that he goes at the top half of the NFL first round, These are the wide receivers who scored similar to him. T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper, Sammy Watkins, Calvin Ridley. If Drake London doesn't hit, he will be the only wide receiver in our prospect model since 2014 that has scored this highly and turns out to be a bust in the NFL. The only guy, everybody else smashed. Sammy Watkins was the worst one out of this group. And Sammy Watkins, got up to being almost the wide receiver one in Dynasty after his second season. Now, going back to his rookie year, as we discussed, it's been gross. You thought we were having the breakout after week 2, where he goes out there and he has 12 targets, 8 receptions, a receiving touchdown, and 86 receiving yards against the Los Angeles Rams. We got very excited after the first 2 weeks, thinking that Drake London was going to be some dominant player's rookie season. And with London, he ended up cementing himself as the #1 receiving option in Atlanta. From a receiving yards per game perspective, he's sitting there at 41. That's ahead of Kyle Pitts. That's ahead of Olamide Zaccheaus. That's ahead of Damiere Byrd. So London was the wide receiver one, but the main issue was there was just no passing volume whatsoever for the Atlanta Falcons. You had Marcus Mariota out there not even attempting 20 passing yards in games. It was disgusting. Now that we are getting this transition over to Desmond Ridder, I can't sit here and tell you, oh, okay, no, Desmond Ridder's going to save Drake London. Desmond Ridder is coming here to say that, okay, reality, that may not be the case. I think Desmond Ridder is a quarterback that can't be much worse than Marcus Mariota from a passing volume standpoint. He can be worse from a real life standpoint. For a passing volume standpoint, I don't know if it's going to get much worse. In reality, I think what ends up happening is with the quarterback carousel that we have this offseason, with so many quarterbacks not guaranteed to be with their NFL teams without shook up in 2022, there's very easily a chance that you get a free agent quarterback coming over to the Atlanta Falcons that possibly changes this scheme, that possibly provides a little more passing volume in Atlanta, or obviously there's a chance that they take a quarterback in the first round. Now, because they're 5-8, because you don't have the luxury of getting a top 3 pick, they're not going to be able to get, at least at this point, it looks like they're not getting Bryce Young. They're not getting CJ Stroud. So you don't really know if you even want them taking a round 1 quarterback because you don't know the caliber of player that you're going to be getting. But really, if we are looking at the passing volume for the Atlanta Falcons, it can't get much worse. The Atlanta Falcons were the 2nd lowest team in the NFL in passing yards, only in front of the Chicago Bears at 155 yards per game. Not even half of what the Chiefs gave you. It can't get worse than what they had. I think the volume's going to come up. And going forward, they shipped Calvin Ridley over to Jacksonville. I think that's a massive positive sign for Drake London, because if you had Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London all playing in 2023, it was going to be a low volume passing attack where there was a lot of competition. But now the only competition you have is Kyle Pitts. If we're looking at where he's currently being valued according to Keep Trade Cut, right now they have Drake London as the wide receiver 14, which is about fair. They have him directly behind T. Higgins. I would definitely rather have T. Higgins. DK Metcalf, I think that's kind of going to be up to you. Devontae Adams, that's going to be up to if you're obviously a contender, rebuilder. I think that's a fair price point. Jameson Williams is creeping up where it looks like Jameson Williams any minute now may leapfrog Drake London, and I easily still prefer Drake London. Christian Watson's right there. I have Christian Watson in a decent amount of leagues. I wish I could say Christian Watson's a better option than Drake London. Hell no, give me London. Devonta Smith, give me London. Cup, up to your roster construction. Here, I just want to make sure that if you have Drake London on your roster, you're not out there saying, oh my gosh, I got to sell for whatever I can get. Let me sell Drake London. Let's go get George Pickens. George Pickens looked a little bit better his rookie season. He was an elite level prospect. The issue was not Drake London, his rookie season. The issue was the Atlanta Falcons passing volume. It's probably not going to be good next year. I can't say the Atlanta Falcons are going to go from being the 2nd worst passing offense in the NFL to being a top 10. But no, they're probably going to be going to be, instead of the worst, a below average offense. They will regress to the mean just a bit here, which hopefully will elevate Drake London. But I think that's all I got for y'all in this video. Let me know if y'all like these shorter videos where we dive a little bit more in depth with an individual player. If you do, drop a like, subscribe to the channel only if you play Dynasty Fantasy Football. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. And in that comment section, you can find a link to Underdog Fantasy. On Underdog Fantasy, you can get in a draft with us in the live stream every single day throughout the offseason. And also, you can check out all these cool player props. Promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar at $200. Pretty much free for you then, and also available in damn near every state. But thank you again. I appreciate you. Hope you have a great day, and hope we get to see you with the video tomorrow.